Did I pass my final fix practical? Let's just say it was a close call. But nevertheless, we were still able to pass my fixed practical with a passable score, which is fantastic. But before I go into discussing all the things that made up me taking this exam and how I felt in that moment, I want to give you guys a quick flashback real quick. So when I was in high school, I was on the wrestling team, I played football, and for anyone who's played sports when they were in school at any point in their life, you know the adrenaline that you feel when you're going out to the field for the first time, or you're going onto the mat and you're getting ready for this match that you have or this game that you're playing or whatever the case may be. And you get this pump of adrenaline, like you're ready to go. That's like literally the same way that you feel when you're taking a timed exam in dental school, like especially for the lab stuff. But I would say like times two. Like when I was taking this exam, I was super calm, but you are still on edge a little bit because every single move you make, every single stroke you make, you know that could either be the thing that helps you get to where you want to be, or it could be super detrimental. At the end of the day, like the biggest advice is to not stress about it too much. But at the end of the day, it's kind of hard to not, because you know that this is the one time that you need to get it right. But for me, the one perspective that I have, I think really helps me to get into a position where I'm able to focus more. All right, so for those who are new here, my name is Malachi Wright. I am a doctor of dental surgery candidate at the University of Maryland School of Dentistry, and I am in my second year, about to be finished my second year. Like, saying that right now is actually crazy because to a certain degree, I still feel like I just started dental school and I'm about to be going into my third year. And I remember the third years at my school, and they're literally graduating right now, and it just seems like time is moving so fast because I'm going to be a third year for the incoming class who's coming to dental school. Insane. You'll know once you go through it or you get here. Time is truly moving super fast. But anyway, today's video, I'm going to be talking about my final practical in a course called Fixed Prosthodontics. For those who may not know, fixed prosthodontics is an aspect of dentistry that really specializes in making restorative materials like crowns, bridges, inlays, onlays, and a whole bunch of other things, implants, etc., etc. For many of these procedures that you do, you have to cement them in or adhesively bond them. Things like veneers, things like onlays, things like inlays. So to a certain degree, once they're in, they're in. Like, getting a veneer is not a reversible procedure. These are things that we learn while we're doing fixed prosthodontics. So in this course, we had to do things like make veneer preps, do veneers. We had to do things like bridge preps and all these other different specific measurements. I'll put up on the screen here what our measurements look like. And this should be standard for most dental schools across the country. But basically, you have to be able to meticulously provide these type of preps for our practicals, in which our final practical was a bridge practical, and for all of your projects as well. Like most things in dental school, you're going to have to practice before you sit down for a practical exam, especially for fixed. And the biggest thing in practicing is you don't want to continue to practice doing something wrong, because then you'll continue to do it wrong. So talk to your peers, talk to the people in your class who do really great jobs, really great work. Get their advice. What speed are they working at? What burr are they using? What angle do they hold their wrist at? You know, how are they sitting? I think like figuring out how you should sit when you're in fixed is going to be something very important to do, because it'll help you get the correct visibility. For me, this was kind of difficult because I am left-handed, so everyone in my class, for the most part, is right-handed, except for a few people. Shout out to the left-handed crew. But for the most part, the people who are in my class are right-handed, so whatever they were doing or however they were sitting, I would try to sit the opposite of that. But nevertheless, you do want to be practicing at least 4 to 5 times before your practical exam date. And this is what I did. I was in the lab, I was practicing. Granted, the weekend before I did have to go to a wedding, so I wasn't really practicing much that weekend before. But at the end of the day, I did spend at least 4 or 5 times. I don't even know if that's correct English, but I was in the lab at least for 4 to 5 times before my practical was to take place, and I was able to do at least 4 to 5 preps. For us, we don't really know what teeth we're going to be preparing. All we knew is that we were going to have to do a bridge prep. So it could have been anterior teeth, it could have been posteriors, it could have been a canine to a premolar. We didn't know. So you basically have to know how to prep every single tooth with the correct specifications. And in fixed prosthodontics, there's also different materials you can use. So it could be a metal prep, it can be a porcelain fused to metal prep, it could be a full zirconium prep. So you really have to make sure you know the different specifications and the measurements for each of them and how to execute that. But you use different tools depending on which prep you're doing, because the metal is definitely much different than doing a PFM. If all these things are like really over your head and you're like, what the heck is Malachi talking about? They're like, this is a lot going on right now. Don't worry about that. You'll learn all that stuff from once you get to that point in dental school. For this specific video though, I do want to tell you guys about just a little interesting story about how I just barely passed my fixed practical. So, mind you, when I was preparing for my fixed practical, we already had one before. And the first one that I had, I did pretty good on. I was pretty proud of my score. So I was like, okay, the second one is not going to be as bad because my hand skills are going to improve and I'm going to do much better. When I tell you guys, my hand skills have improved drastically. Like, it's been like something I'm truly grateful for, because when I pick up the handpiece and I'm going to do a prep, like, I feel very confident in it. And I feel like I can do a pretty great job. And I feel confident in that going into this practical. The one thing that I believe got me during this practical was the amount of time that we had. For the first practical, we only had 1 hour and 30 minutes, which seems like a long time, but it went by super fast and I felt like I was rushing. The second practical, we had 3 hours. So knowing that I had 3 hours, I was like, okay, I'm good. Like, I'm going to have ample enough time to do a prep, even if it's on 2 different teeth. Like, I can do that in 3 hours. Like, that is no problem for me. During my practice sessions, I was able to get down this prep within 3 hours, no problem. Most of my preps were being finished at like 1 hour 45, 2 hours. I was really good. On the day of the practical though, I spent entirely too much time on getting my axial reduction, or for those who may not know what that means, I spent way too much time shaving down the tooth structure to make sure my margin was smooth and that I was in the correct position for both of my teeth in terms of my axial reduction. So how far in of the prep I went. I actually have my practical tooth here, but there's no way you guys are going to be able to see like how far I went with this. But anyway, I wanted to make sure I didn't have any J margins. I wanted to make sure that my axial reduction was really good. Everything looked phenomenal. I had 1 hour left, and after that hour was left, I took my putty, and this was like a fabricated type of registration of how far we need to go down for our prep, and my occlusal was very under prep. So I'm like, okay, I have to bring the occlusal down. I spent like 30 minutes on trying to construct the best occlusal anatomy, trying to construct the correct measurements for the occlusal anatomy, making sure my bevel was in the 45-degree angle on the buccal cusp because I was working on the mandible, and just making sure that everything looked immaculate, everything looked good, at least on that specific part. Yeah, I saw I had an undercut a little bit. I got rid of the undercut. I made sure that everything else was looking decent enough. And at the end of that practical, I literally said to myself, this is my best. Like, in this moment, this is the best prep I've done over the course of the past 3 weeks. So I was very confident that this was going to be okay because it was my best work so far. Now, when it comes to this course specifically, I wanted to make sure, you really want to make sure that you just do good enough to pass, because the grading, in my opinion, is a little subjective. And I know this is something that's difficult because every single person is going to see something that's very different. Like, even if I were a professor, I would see something that's different than another professor may see it. Now, with that variability, that means that some professors are going to grade much harsher than other professors. For me, in my personal opinion, I believe that the grader who I had was definitely one of those professors who they could see an undercut from a mile away. Like, they could see an imperfection like no other. So when I got my score back, I was like, I saw the professor's name at the top of my paper and I was like, geez, like, God, I hope I pass this, because I know that if this person is grading it, it's going to be meticulously graded. At the end of the day, I was still able to pass the practical. I didn't get the score that I wanted, but I was able to pass it, which I'm really grateful about, because that means I don't have to do another practical. But I was able to go and speak with this professor to talk to them a little bit about, what I could have done better, where I could have improved, and some of the things that they saw that resulted in the score that I got. Obviously, at the end of the day, it's pretty subjective, so just get prepared for that. If you're the type of student that used to getting A's on everything and you feel like everything that you do is perfect and like nobody can tell you anything, dental school is going to be a very, very hard track for you. Because like I said before, I thought that I had a pretty great prep and it came back with a score that I did not really want, but it was a score that apparently I deserved, and it was a score that I got. So at the end of the day, all you can do is learn and move on from that lesson. I'm sorry guys, all these people are emailing me. I'm like checking my email, I'm like, Jesus. But anyway, to make a long story short, the course is almost over. We have our final exam on Friday. This video may come out before then or may come out after then. I'm not 100% sure. But at the end of the day, this is notoriously one of the harder courses at my school. I will continue to practice these preps because we will have to do these for board exams. But making sure that you get the extra reps in, and making sure that you're working with people who know what they're doing, watching videos on YouTube, whatever the case may be, and getting those practice reps in is going to be extremely important when you're working on something like Fix. With that being said, guys, I do have some pretty cool things coming out on this channel. So I do want to reach out to some of my friends who are in medical school to have them come on and talk about their experiences in medical school so far. I'm going to do a countdown to my white coat ceremony, which will be around 30 days before. So I'm going to start 30 days before my white coat ceremony. Or it might not be 30 days. I might start it, in the next couple of weeks. It depends on how I feel. So don't hold me on that. But at the end of the day, right now, I'm just getting prepared for moving into and transitioning into clinic. This is definitely a very busy time. Not so much with school specifically, but more so with getting acclimated to the clinic environment, making sure that I review some of the things that are necessary for me to be an efficient provider. Obviously, I'm not going to know everything. I don't expect myself to, but some of the miscellaneous and some of the basic things I should definitely be able to articulate in a confident manner. So I'm working on that. And in addition, I also have kind of a project that I've been working on. And this project will be unveiling probably within the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. And if you all have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to hit me up. Let me know. And I'll be sure to answer any other questions or anything of that nature, guys. But if you all like this video, if you all enjoy this content, and if you all are ready to take and conquer Fix Prosthodontics, please let me know. And shoot me a DM, shoot me a comment, whatever the case may be. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.